Is pay and reward the next HR topic to be disrupted? For years, we've debated the best way to reward and recognise people's contribution to business. But for a long time, HR leaders and teams remain very fearful of any real change. Now, as the world of work transforms, are we about to see pay and reward truly modernise? Welcome to Talking HR Trends with Natal and Tom, where we explore the latest hot topics and business challenges impacting the future of work. Stick around to the end for our practical top tip, and if you like this video, please subscribe to be notified of the next in the series. Hey Tom, how are you today?
I'm fine. And you?
Yeah, good. There's a little bit of sun in Scotland, so there's hope. There's hope.
Same here.
So today we are talking about what many see as the ultimate hot potato in the workplace. So often considered controversial, and everyone has very strong opinions about it. So what are your thoughts on pay and reward being controversial? Why is it seen as the taboo or hot potato topic?
Yeah, I think it might be different in other countries, but I'm Dutch. We're in the Netherlands. You don't talk about pay, but still you would like to know what other people earn. So
yes,
and you always think other people earn more, or it's unfair, and you should have more, etc. So I think that might not change, at least not here.
It's almost a bit of a vicious circle, isn't it? Because the more we keep it, secret and don't talk about it, the more we distrust what's happening. So it sort of feeds off each other in some ways. So there are commentators like Josh Bersin saying it is time for pay and reward to change. And what is exciting, we're starting to see some great examples happening across markets and industries. So there's a real link now to how do we reward more for collaboration and teamwork linked to business agility. We're also seeing a delinking of performance ratings, particularly individual ratings, from bonus and pay increases. And even some organisations have gone all the way and decided to go fully transparent in their salary formulas and their actual pay scales. So this is quite exciting. What are your thoughts and what have you found about the trends that are starting to influence pay and reward out there?
Yeah, and often the basics of pay and reward were designed in the old days, when organizations were a clear hierarchy. Everybody had a fixed job, and when you had a career, you went from A to B to C. Neat, clear, and well, that's the ideal situation to design a reward and pay systems. Those days are no longer there. So the shapes of organizations have changed. It become more blurry. The boundaries are not so clear. And many organizations are working project-based. And so you're working in one project, then you move to another project. So the stability is a lot less than it was in the past. So that's one trend important, and we have to take that into account. The importance of teams is also increased. And the ways teams are working is changing. We have more self-managed teams, teams that organize themselves without a leader telling the people what to do. We have to take that into account. In one of our earlier episodes, we talked about the shift from jobs to roles to skills becoming more important. Well, it's a little bit easier to pay for a job, to say you have that job and we pay you that, than to pay for skills, especially if you utilize those skills differently in different projects. A long-term trend that is important is personalization. And personalization is also, there are different elements of work, and those different elements are not as important, don't have the same importance for all the people. So it's about, what do I learn? Can I develop myself? What is the kind of work? Who are my colleagues? What's the purpose of the company? So there are all kinds of elements with different weighting for different people. And pay is one of those elements. But for some people, if you have just bought a big house or a small house and you need the money and you have a new family, probably pay is more important for you than if you're 50 plus, you're all settled, and you're more looking at what is life bringing to me. The last trend is around analytics. With analytics today, we have a lot more capability to look at pay in a cleverly way. What is the value of certain pay elements for people? And there are also big differences there. And the analytics, nothing new there, but also allows us to get a better insight in what is actually happening pay-wise.
So kind of to summarize, in many ways, we need to look at sort of this idea of total reward. So all the different things that sit in how we reward and recognize somebody's contribution, and look at that in a more holistic approach, use data and use evidence as to what is working and what is not for different parts of the organization. Think about a more personalized approach. But I really like this kind of point, Tom, around this idea that we're no longer the hierarchy. And so this neat, ordered way of sort of paying people just doesn't fit anymore. The shape of the organization, the way that we work, the skills-based, the project-based way that we work. So these are, I think, is what is starting to really disrupt this topic. But I think it also shows that there's no one way to go about the change. And you've got to look at what's going on for your own organization and your own people. So to kind of wrap the topic up, what's your thoughts around next steps? So if a HR team and a leader did want to disrupt or at least make some changes, what are your thoughts on the best way to approach this topic?
I have a couple of elements I think that are important. One is simplicity. Personally, I've worked on very complicated systems. Well, let's keep it simple. And I think that we see that. Many organizations want more simplicity and not all those mechanic and over-engineered systems. Secondly, and that's a big opportunity, let's look at the preferences of people and groups of people, and let's take that into account. And there's clever software today where you can start measuring that. Say, well, let's tailor our total reward package in such a way and that the people perceive the best benefits from it. We can do that. Data is king here. Not one size fits all. So that's the second element. The third one is let's try to look also at science. That's maybe a separate recording, but there's not a lot of evidence that bonus systems really drive the behavior of people in the right direction. But still, most organizations, many organizations spend a lot of time in designing sophisticated bonus systems.
Yeah, indeed, there's a lot of evidence to show that the more that kind of any kind of feedback conversation or performance is linked to money and ratings, we have this sort of fear state, and we don't know how to talk about our career development and our feedback if it's too linked to money. So yeah, so exactly, what's the evidence? And let's go in looking for the data and what people actually want and need rather than just what we've done before. So great suggestions. And I think what I'm going to feed off from that and take into our practical top tip is the theme around transparency. And you talked a bit about perception there, Tom. And what we're starting to see, there is now evidence and research to show that if we make the topic more transparent and people understand how decisions are made about how they are paid and how they are recognized, they start to trust the actual decisions more. So, and this is a sense of fairness. So it's not about paying everyone the same or actually telling everyone what people are paid, but actually giving more information about how the decisions are made. And in this environment, people become more trusting with what's happening around them. And this can go a long way to really changing the taboo topic. And this is where we want to get to. How do people start feeling comfortable about talking about pay and reward so we can actually evolve it for the better? Excellent. Thank you so much for your insights today, Tom. This was a really great conversation. Really appreciate it. If you like this video, please subscribe to be notified of the next in the series. This is Talking HR Trends with Natal and Tom. Thanks for your time.